because I was like, oh, I should do something to my hair, you know, show up for the people. But then I was also like, self, that is crazy. We show up as we are. This is what they're used to. Okay, so listen. Today we're making the Belmore jacket. And it's like, why are we upstairs in your bedroom? We're upstairs in my bedroom still because I had planned to make the Belmore jacket from taking um, a quilt that I already had, which I've got to dig underneath my bed for. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I figured I would prop you all up. Oopsies, sorry. While I did that. So last year, or maybe it was earlier this year. Y'all, listen, my legs are so sore. It was like 2 days ago, and your girl is still suffering today. Oh, okay. So I went to this linen shop and I bought all of these linens. And so one of the things that I got was this quilt, and it was a leopard print quilt. And oh, I just realized my bed is not flat. Hold on. And so I bought it with the purpose of making this, of turning it into a jacket. So we have a bed that, we've got a bed that, you know, does things. I don't know how else to describe it. It like moves. The way that it was, I couldn't reach the this thing. Although, yeah, I can still can't reach it. So let me see. No, I think I need to lift the feet part. Yes, I should have done this before I got on live, but whatever. Welcome to the chaos, okay? That's all I can say about that. All right, that didn't help at all. You guys, I don't know why my husband stuck this shit underneath here the way that he did. Nor do I know how he did it. But I got it. So I found this little quilt situation while I was at this linen shop. So we're gonna use this, which is just your basic quilt, your straw-bark quilt. So we're gonna use this to make the Belmore jacket. Because while my husband loves me, I don't think he'll ever love me enough to be like, yes, let us adorn our bed with this super cute, yes, very cute cheetah print situation. So now that we've gotten our material, let's go downstairs and let's get sewing. Okay. Today my daughter decided to stay home. I don't know if we'll get a cameo of her. It's always fun. I see that the other children have left on all of their lights. Okay, Google, stop. And space heaters. So, let's see, did she turn hers off? Oh, number 2 turned hers off. Come on with this growth. Okay. Walking up and down the stairs, like after you've like done your legs, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. Okay. So, per norm, my office is obviously a force to be reckoned with. That's what we're going to leave it at. We're going to turn on the projector. We're going to have to clean up the cutting table. So I've been really trying to focus hard on not just producing content, but also just like posting content on YouTube consistently, because you guys, I'm really, really trying to hit my my goals here as far as monetization. So In addition to, of course, going live in here this week, I have produced videos and posted content daily, y'all. Daily on YouTube. We're not talking about just shorts. In fact, I have posted no shorts. So let's pull up our Belmore. I just had it up to make sure that I had it. I think I did that. So we're gonna go ahead, pull that up on my projector. Now let me be clear about this when I say that I'm pulling this on my projector, because yesterday I was in the Made for Mermaids group and I was cutting with my projector, and someone was like, "Oh, this reminds me, I need to go and get the." She was like, "I need to go and get a ditto projector." I don't cut. I don't use a ditto projector. Okay, there is a reason why those things are marked down the way they are. But I'm gonna just leave it at that. Okay, and they're marked down like 50% off at this point in time. I still didn't pay that much for what I have. Okay, so just as a heads up, Belmore. Okay, maybe. No. I promise you, you would think that I would have already done this, and I did do it. I found it. I thought I downloaded it because in my new pattern November, situation, that like blog post that I did, I made sure to include everything that I was doing based off of the patterns that I already had, because I did not want to buy new patterns. And now I'm like, where is it? But I'm like, this gets annoying to me. Why? Because I have so many email accounts, literally. It's absurd a little bit. So give me a second to find it again. I'm sorry, friends. And then, of course, you know, we don't have music that we can play in the background. I'm going to pull up some, like, I don't know. I feel like there's like a YouTube friendly playlist out there that I can turn on. So I will. This is it, Ashley. And I'm like, I know I have it. And I literally just found it. No, it's not in there. I'm really like, why do I have so many? Nope. It's not in this email account, that's for certain. And then I have so much, literally just too many email accounts. I have 2 email accounts per business. It's absurd. Okay. All right. Come on. Let's pull up a little faster. Okay. I think I found it. Got it. No worries. We got it. Our Belmore jacket. We're ready. We're ready now. So this is actually my first Muna and Broad sew. You guys ever have like a print at home copy shop? Let's just go into that copy shop just to see. You guys ever have like a okay, Ashley, can you consolidate? I need to, you know what? So I actually had a VA who was working on it, and in truth, I didn't love what she did. So now I'm like, I don't want to say that I'm scarred from working with a VA or anything like that, but I will say that your girl is like, I don't know about working with a VA again. Okay, let's see. What size are we in? I'm just going to base it off of my hip because I don't want to do any grading. This jacket is like an oversized situation, so I definitely just want to make sure that it fits my hip, like my hip area. So I'm going to do a size. This is going to be very big on my bust. So we're going to just We're going to go with the size F. The size hip for that is a 50. Maybe we'll go up to size. My bust measures a 46. My hips don't measure a 46. Okay. So that's the big issue. Let's see what these finished measurements are looking at, and that's what I'm actually going to base my decision on. So size, I really feel like I'm going to just go for the size F, because maybe the size E. Like, we're sizing down. I'm going to go for the size E because the finished bust is a 67 and the finished hip is also a 67 inch. And I feel like if I do that, then that will get me into a position that will feel good, you know? So I'm going to just go ahead and pull. I'm actually going to. So this is drafted for, not drafted, but they did not release a projector file specific for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in essence, turn this into a projector file for me. And what I'm going to do in order to kind of make it a projector file is I'm going to open up PDF Stitcher because it's fastest for me. And since I'm on live and I already feel bad about how long it took me to, one, pull out my quilt for us to do this in, and two, how long it took me to find this pattern. We're going to go ahead and pull it into PDF Stitcher. And I'm going to just, good morning, Jilly, not from Philly. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to increase the thickness of all of the layers. So that way I can just go ahead. Get that. So that way I can just go ahead and generate my PDF based off of that. So that way it's easier for me to just see what I need to see. And so now let's go ahead and open that new file up. And I'll show you what the old file looks like so that you can kind of see what the difference is. So let's turn you all around. So now the Belmore jacket originally comes like this. This is what it looks like in the original format. And as you guys can see, these lines are super thin, right? They are very thin. If I project this, it's going to be hard for me to see, and your girl is cute but blind, okay? So now with the file that I just created, this is what it looks like. It's a lot more bold, as you can see. And I also went ahead and put it on all one page. Now, the original Belmore jacket is like this, and it's on multiple pages. As you can see, like, this is a new page. And as opposed to, so let's see, you guys see this is like, this is the page break here. So I don't have a page break on this new file that I've created. So not only is it the lines thicker, but I created it all on one document, so it's easier for me to navigate. So I'm going to just go ahead and turn off all of these layers that I don't need. I said that we decided on size E because I feel like that will be oversized enough for me. I probably could have gone down even further, but I still wanted to maintain the integrity of the shape of the garment. So we're going to go ahead and get started cutting. I actually have no idea how to do this because I have not read the instructions at all. So let's do that. Let's take a brief gander through these instructions. It seems like it's fairly straightforward. We are going to need some interfacing, which of course I have. Whew, when they lay it out like this, that looks like a lot of pieces. Yeah, girl, Ashley, we cute but blind. This is from Muna and Broad. Okay, so we're doing the Hong Kong binding. This beautiful finish is the perfect way to feature contrasting fabric on the inside. Fold the edges of the bias tape open. Place the right side of the bias tape. So the bias tape. Flip it over. Okay. And this is what I I did that for, I did do this for Julian's jacket. I have to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to use any interfacing. The reason why I don't think I'm going to use interfacing is because I'm using a quilt, and I feel like that's going to be a little too thick for me. We need twill tape, y'all. Your girl wasn't really prepared for all this. Jesus. I don't have twill tape. I've got plenty of binding though. We're going to make it pop with what we have. Why? Because we're just going to do the best that we can with what it is that we got. You know what I'm saying? That's all we can do. But this assembly looks a little crazy to me. This is the collar. Okay, I love this for us. Marvelous. Excellent. Okay, this looks great. I have no idea what we're doing, okay? I just want to be clear about that. So we're going to be going through this. We're going to be freestyling this together. Again, I am not going to be doing, I'm not going to be using, I don't want to say I'm not going to be using any of the shit that's up in here, but we're not going to be doing all of the things. Like, we're not using any twill tape because, you know what, I don't have twill tape. I wasn't expecting to need all of these extra notions. So let's go ahead and connect the projector. And then let's just get our party started. All right, let's go for it. I really think that this is going to be super cute. This is the exact reason why I bought this quilt. So let's get into it. Now, also, I did talk about this jacket in one of the videos that I did publish this week. I talked about it in the 7+ size, fairly beginner friendly. And it is beginner friendly. Don't just ignore my laziness. Oh, we forgot to turn it. Let me escape from here. I do think that, of course, how it is that you decide to go about this is going to, of course, impact whether or not we deem it being easy or not, you know. Yes, it called for twill tape that I don't have on hand. It'll be fine, though. We will make it work. So let's go into our proper, and we could fit all of our pattern for the most part. I think we might need to move the sleeve, or we'll have to alternate things for the sleeve. But I want it this way so I can, of course, cut the largest pieces, which, of course, are this, the bodice pieces. I will say that it's a little different to kind of see the directions saying cut one pair as opposed to cut two. Like kind of like two mirror images, that sort of thing. Just reviewing, of course, our pattern pieces, making sure that these big pieces are what can fit, and seeing what I'm going to have to essentially turn. I just need to turn to get that sleeve on there. Everything else will fit. All right, let's get ready to cut. So the projector is already set up. As we can see, my quilty Sitch, she's ready to go. She's like, I know it took me a long time to show up, but I'm here now. So just alternate that a little bit. If you all tuned in the evening of last night, I did share that I got, I was gifted the new book from Jenny Rushmore of Cashmerette, and she sent me the her new book, Sewing the Curve, which you can see right here. I was pretty excited to receive it. Like, I knew, so she had reached out to me to see if I would be interested in receiving an advanced copy. To, of course, which I was like, yes. Because, you know, we don't, like, if you're a plus size girly, we don't really get books that are made for us. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really get that. So I love that. And of course, but this is what she does. She sent. Oh, that did not stay up there the way that I thought that that was going to. You know, of course, Jenny centers the voices and the bodies of the plus size community. I would even love to see her come out with like some men's patterns. I know that that is like pushing it because I know she's probably like, girl, my audience is plus size women. But I think that, you know, she could be onto something. All right, so let's go ahead and get our little quilty situation up there. Now, of course, because of the nature of this quilt, there is no like right from wrong side. I don't need to like kind of focus on mirror imaging. For me, I just kind of want my lines to be going vertical. So for me, that is the quote unquote right direction, or that's what I'm using. And I have a tendency to like to want to move things so that I can get the maximum use out of the fabric that I'm using. Even if I'm like, I am never going to use this again. And yes, some people do use, they use, of course, pattern weights. I do also have pattern weights. It's just easier for me to use my hand. Honestly, I feel like I have more control over how I can see the how I can see the pattern on the fabric by using my hand. I get asked about pattern weights often. I think that if they work for you, then you should absolutely use them. And if they don't work for you, then that is also okay. You guys, we cut out our first piece. Now, I love to upcycle, but this is my first time doing it with a with like a quilt. And I know I bought this for this purpose, but you guys, I'm so excited about it. Hold on, sorry. So T-Mobile made some kind of change or whatever, and whatever change that they made, it didn't affect my bill. But you know what it affected? It affected all these scam likelies getting through. Okay. So we got our collar piece. Like, I just can't see myself interfacing this. Plus, I'm pretty sure this fabric is already interfaced. Let's move this all the way up. Oh no, let me move that back. Back close to the edge. And so this is actually a king size little quilty stitch. I think I'm gonna come back and do, I'm gonna come back and do that part. Let me see if I can get this back piece on the, like the same kind of like fabric setup here. And now I will be honest, it is kind of hard for me to see, so I do think I'm gonna go ahead and invert my colors. And this just helps the lines contrast a little bit higher for me. because the black line kind of on here is just, it's, I don't want to say it's not helpful, but it could be more helpful. Okay, so as you guys can see here, now the lines are green and they're showing up way brighter, obviously. So now I can see a lot better. And that to me, whew, y'all, so good. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so it's still saying only cut one pair here. Okay, that works. You guys, if I was really feeling like taking this garment to the next level, I would take off all of the bias tape that's on this quilt. I have never been less dedicated to something in my life though, so obviously that's not gonna work. I'm gonna just move this down so that it's already lined up with this previous cut line. Like so. Perfect. So this weekend we are going to we're gonna go enjoy some holiday lights at Callaway Gardens, and so we'll be out at night. So I will likely be wearing my new like little jack situation. Okay, so we have this cut out. Now for this part, because this is like the collar area, I do want to actually go the opposite direction with my like with how I'm cutting this out. So instead of having my lines vertical, just, can you see what I'm doing? So instead of having my lines vertical, I'm gonna have them go horizontal. So I did switch that up here. Not only that, but it does make it easier, because if I decide that I would like to use this quilt again, then I have more fabric left over. So like if one of my kids is like, oh mommy, I love your jacket so much, I would like a matching one, then I have enough fabric to probably make a jacket that matches. I'm gonna move this down here because I don't want this to move. And this is where the bulk of the weight is. So I put a fresh blade in my rotary cutter yesterday. You guys, what a difference. What a difference. There is nothing like a fresh blade in your rotary cutter. You know? Okay, so we got this cut out. We got that cut out. That is the interfacing, which I'm not cutting out because, again, I actually think that this has already been interfaced. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to cut out this bottom piece here. Cut out this bottom piece here. And I imagine that these two circles are important. I did not mark them on my front piece. I'm going to go back and do that. I will mark them on this piece though. Let's go ahead and bring up. Okay, so maybe there won't be very much left over, because those sleeves are huge, yo. The sleeves are like, you can fit everything inside of here. But this is like the pocket area as well. So we're having like big pockets. And honestly, what I think I'm going to do as far as like marking these 2 circles is I think I just might actually end up seeing how far they measure because y'all, I don't know what I can use to mark this. I do have some chalk, but like I'm having a love-hate relationship with this chalk, so I don't think it's gonna mark, but we'll just do little X marks the spot there because I don't think that that's gonna make the difference that I need for it to make. Oh, but it did. Okay, it made it. It made it. So let's pull this back on the other side and do a little X marks the spot here too. Okay, so we marked that piece. All right, now we're gonna have to rotate the picture again. And then we'll cut out our sleeves and then we're done cutting, which means it's coffee time. Okay, so let's make sure that we've got our okay. So we're set up here with our sleeve. Again, this is a lot of sleeve. This is a serious amount of sleeve, y'all. So do you know how much I spent on this like little quilt? Again, keep in mind, it is a, I'm trying to decide which side I want to be closest to. Let's be closest to the side I've already cut from. So it's a king size quilt. It's okay, we're not going to play that guessing game because I don't think you guys will ever guess. So last year I went to this like linen place where they sold their linens by the pound. Yes, as in how much it weighs. And so, like being there, meant that I wasn't spending a whole lot of money. Because I bought like this king size like fur blanket. And I bought like 2 of those like fancy pillows. And I think I spent a total of strong maybe of like $200 on everything I bought that day. I completely I got stuff to redo my daughter's bedding, all of that. So I feel like this is like basically the cheapest jacket that you could possibly get made out of quilted material. So listen, Yolanda, when do we ever get out of the year of the animal? I'm just trying to figure it out because I don't know if my time is ever coming. Forever in the year of the animal. All right, friends, it's coffee time. And even though we're on the YouTube streets, we're still getting coffee, okay? Because we deserve it. We cut out a pattern. Coffee is the reward. Milkshake, you look real questionable right now, sis. My kitchen was not cleaned last night. Does not make mama happy. So this, you know what? Here's the thing. It's someplace in Covington. So it was a little bit of a drive for me too. It's in Covington, Georgia. And it's actually a fabric shop. I didn't know that it was a fabric shop. Um, I want to say, I think I tagged it in, because like I did like a live about it after I came back. And I think I tagged it on my Instagram at some point in time. I'm fairly certain I did that. So, again, my daughter is home today. What? Yolanda, girl, I'm gonna keep you. She said I ordered some glasses to match our jacket. Sis, you were funny, but I feel that, girl. She was like, it is our jacket now. So I've been like freshly grinding my coffee. Jilly, come visit. Stop playing. Bring me the grandbabies. Let's all just hang out, okay? So I've been having to freshly grind my coffee. I don't have a problem with it, but you know, I'm an hour from Covington. Do you remember the name? Camille. I will look it up on my Instagram and see if I can find it. But do search, because like they have a big Facebook. They have a big Facebook page. And so they do it on Tuesdays. Not every Tuesday, but they'll have an event where they do it on Tuesdays. And I feel like if you look up like Covington linen sale, you'll be able to find it. Come on. So you are family. Okay, so soulful. Let me like, your name's been Yolanda the whole time, girl. Jill said I'm leaving these kids. But yeah, Camille, look up Covington like linen sale. And I'll do it. Matter of fact, let me go grab my other phone. Okay, let's see. Cause like we gotta wait for the water to boil anyway. So Covington GA linen sale. Okay, so it's at the OHCO Outlet Center. So I call it OHCO. I don't know if that, yes, that's it. That's it, Camille. That's it. I don't know, Yolanda. I grew up, so I'm from New York, you know. So I grew up with a lot of Yolandas that we would call Yoli. But of course, it's because they were Puerto Rican. So then it would really sound like Jolie. But yeah, the OHCO outlet. That's exact. And so when you pull it up, you see these people waiting outside. That's not how it looked when I got there, because your girl got there. Listen, come on, we can do it. Yolanda, don't play with me, because we can. But I got there early. I got there literally, I was outside before they opened, because I was like, I don't do lines. But look, let's see. They post their sales in their Facebook group, on their Facebook page. But let's see, they've got upcoming sales. What month? We're in November. They have November 9th through 11th, so they're done for the year. The next up, it looks like it's January 18th through the 20th. Unless these are past sales. Let's tap on it and see. No, they've got Thursday through, their next sale is Thursday through Saturday. January 18th through 20th, and they have a countdown, 9 weeks, 2 hours, 54 minutes. Hi, Brandon. I sure will. For those that don't know, this is Brandon, happily dressed. He is one of the most talented sewists that I know. One of my favorite things about Brandon is because we ran into each other. I met him while he was working at Joann's. And like literally I met him, and he was one of the sweetest person in the world, but also the kindest to my kids. So of course that made him extra cool in my book. And we started talking, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm a Bernina brand ambassador. He was like, cool, I'm a Singer brand ambassador. And I was like, oh, marvelous, like we should do some stuff together, whatever. But after that, y'all, Brandon took his social media and just popped off. Like, when I tell you that I look at him and I watch him with just so much like admiration and pride. One, because he's not the same age as me, y'all. I'm 40. Brandon is in his 20s. So I love to look at the things that he does because he's so daring. He takes these risks, right? And it's so refreshing because he's obviously a man, but he's taking these women's patterns and really reconfiguring them so that we look at even these blocks, these like size charts and these blocks differently, because he's reimagining them on his body to his silhouette. And yeah, I just love me some Brandon, okay? I'm just so proud of everything that he does. Love him because he has fantastic energy. Not only is he a fantastic like sewist, pattern designer, can't wait to start testing your patterns, baby. But he be out here reading people's energies too. Like, I mean, Brandon is literally the best. I love him. Brandon, I've been doing more walking, so I've been getting my daily walks in on my treadmill because I was like, yo, next year my goal is to be like, let's meet up and go for a little joggy jog, not a run. Let me be clear here, because there's like a 15, like almost 20 age, like your age difference here. So I'm like, let's go for a light jog together, you know? But next year, baby, just wait, Brandon. I'm gonna hit you up and be like, Brandon, where are we running to this morning? Because Brandon be out here running in these Atlanta streets and be showing us himself all glistening and hot and sweaty, looking all glossy. And I'm like, I want in. I'm just trying to be living this lifestyle. So this morning we are doing another light roast coffee. I really feel like I've come into like my coffee, like into where I live in coffee. We're going to use my favorite mug today. One would think it's my sewing mug. It is not. This is one of my favorite mugs. He said at any pace. Okay. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it, Brandon. I love this mug. You know what, Jilly? And it's funny because like I was talking about this on TikTok. I've had a really hard year. And so the YouTube video that I dropped earlier this week on Monday, I meant every word that I said of it. Like, I've done a lot of surviving of this year because of y'all, right? And because I happen to have quite literally the best like community, the best village, both virtual and in person, that I could ask for, because I struggle. You know what I mean? Good morning, Katrina. I've been struggling, but I have so many people, you know, like you, Jill, like Brandon, like the Katrinas, like the Yolandas, like the Camille's that show up for me. And when y'all show up for me, like, you guys have no idea how good it feels, because when you're a creator, when you're a content creator, we create for you. And if we feel like our audience isn't showing up, then we become really discouraged. And it's like, what's the point in creating? And because this is like my job and this is what I get paid for, in addition to, of course, coaching small businesses, you know, a lot of what I create and a lot of my content is really dependent upon you all, you know, and the fact that you all show up for me the way that you do means that I can create even more high quality content that, you know, does well, but not just does well, but like helps you and that connects me to you. So, my daughter, y'all know my middle child is like the sweetest girl in the world. She heard me talking so highly about this Coffee Mates brown butter creamer that when her and her father went out to Walmart over the weekend, she was like, Mommy is out of her favorite creamer. And it's funny because she watches me when I don't even know she's watching me, because he bought me another creamer and she was like, Mommy is not going to like that creamer. It was fucking disgusting. It's gross. She was right. I was like, sis, how did you know? How did you know? And she knew. She was right. So they were out at Walmart and she was like, Daddy, mommy is out of a creamer that she loves. Can we get her some more creamer? Sometimes I look at these people that I've made and I'm like, how'd I get so lucky to have you guys choose me as your mom? That is literally how I feel, because does it get any sweeter? You know what I mean? Like, does it get any more kind than a child actually paying attention to what their parent enjoys? You know what I'm saying? Oh, that first sip. Oh, that first sip. Nothing hit like that first sip, okay? Let's get to sewing, y'all. Now, you know we're supposed to be doing all of these fancy things with Hong Kong seams and things like that, right? We're going to make it pop. Oh, God said let there be light, and here we have some light. So, I would say something like, oh my God, my sewing space is such a mess. But like, I feel like y'all already expected that. You know what I'm saying? When I sew live, I really be feeling like I'm sewing with family. But no, really, your girl really does need to do something about this. I've got a couple of works in progress over here. I cut them out and never did anything with them. That, I don't like that. I wish I had my iPad near me. It's upstairs. I knew that. I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and airdrop myself these directions. Let's see. So I'm going to airdrop myself the directions because I hate it when I'm over here trying to follow. Because, you know, I don't really do tutorials. But they're over here doing some new stuff. So I want to make sure I don't get lost in the sauce, you know? Okay, we're back. Creatives are messy. Woo! Jill over here speaking this hot fire truth first thing in the morning, which I'm here for. All right, so we got our pattern pieces lined up. We are pretty much working. Oh, God, I'm trying to tell you. So I did, yeah, leg day is trying to kill me. The best creations come out of chaos. I was going to say something, but I was like, it's too early in the morning for this, okay? All right, let's get into it. So I already know that we're supposed to be doing our Hong Kong binding, which means that we're obviously binding our seams. So to do the binding of the seams, and this is actually pretty straightforward. I do feel fully prepared to do this. I'm going to grab, I thought I already had all of my bias tape out, but I think I put it away. We'll do our bias tape in a second. All right, so the first thing that we're doing is the back. Yeah, that looks good. Let's knock out this back first. Okay, so we've got our sleeves here. We'll put that underneath the table. And then we've got, this is the front part. Dang, my battery is dying already. Then we've got our collar piece. And now we're on to this back part. I want to be honest, I don't remember what the seam allowance is. But we've got our two back pieces. Now, of course, the challenge when you're doing something like this where there's no true right from wrong side is it's like, oh, I got to make sure that I don't do the same thing twice. Good morning, Flores. So I'm going to flip the camera so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Because there is so much ease in this jacket, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, also because my fabric is so thick because it's quilted. And I think that that will be fine. Put my other pieces to the side. I'm like, let me join from this phone as well. I'm like, do I even have YouTube on here? I do. Make sure I'm not signed in as myself. I'm like, that would be awkward. Okay, but I'm like, I also don't know how to. Oh, nope, that is my. Oh, no, this is correct. Going under Aaronica could be cool. Hey everyone, this is Aaronica. Actually logging into the live. I could, just because I want to be able to see the comments. There we go. So let's go ahead, flip you all around so that we can see. So I'm using a different stand. I'm gonna have to make sure I turn this on, turn my volume down. But I'm using a different, okay. I'm using a different, oh, I didn't flip you guys, my apologies. Here we go. I'm using a different, one of my tripods. So, ooh, don't tell me with a good time, flow dance. You like that, Katrina? We upcycled a quilt. Okay, so this is our back piece. Oh my goodness. This looks good already. I don't know if I, like, part of me feels like I would like to do, well, no, because I've got all of this, got all that stuffing inside. We got to make sure that shit stays in. So, never mind. Never mind, never mind, never mind. Okay, so let's get our second piece set up. Okay, so that has to be like that. You know what I should have done is I should have done this below part. I should have done this in a horizontal, had my lines going horizontal as well. That would have been a nice little design. Okay, so we've got these two done. I'm gonna go ahead and trim it down because one of the things that I learned through doing this with Julian's jacket is if I'm doing this Hong Kong binding, y'all, we have to do it at the same time. I'm like twinsies, like same time, okay? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna use these LDH scissors. These are their lightweight scissors. I don't want to lie, because you guys know when you're an influencer, people do send you stuff. I don't not like the scissors, but I will say that they are not my favorite. Um, so today is the day for the littles to, I'm going to go ahead and just, well, I don't, so I'm using this extra wide bias tape and I feel like, I don't know, yeah, I feel like I can, no, let me trim down one side. So because my daughter decided to stay home from school, she needed to, I think she just needed some extra rest. So, actually, let's just trim down both. So she's upstairs, which means that I don't actually have to leave the house today. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out this sew with you guys. And then we're going to go, I'm going to go and create some more content. That means that I get some like unplanned, some uninterrupted time to create, to plan, etc. Okay, so now let's go ahead. Oh, dang, that was fast. So now when I was working on Julian's jacket and I decided not to line it, I ended up, you know, of course, enclosing my seams with this bias tape, y'all. I thought I was gonna die as I finished the garment because I was like, I had already finished the construction. But I did not like think about how I was gonna do those seams. And I did his in a denim. Ugh, literally the worst. I was like, this is terrible. And I could have gone with a brighter color if I thought I had it on hand, but I don't know. I don't know all the bias tape that I actually have on hand. So we're gonna go for this, especially because I have, this fabric is so thick, of course, because it's quilted. So I'm just trying to be mindful of, you know, my turn of cloth. I don't want to be over here fighting with bias tape, especially because I already have a love-hate relationship with it. But I am like, damn, I gotta stop doing this shit on live. Like, take some time to myself while I do bias tape. So I do feel like this is the best way to do this. I am not, like, my specialties, the things that I'm known for are not my finishing techniques because I'm lazy and I know this about myself. Hold on a second. I'm like, what did you say, Florence? You know I love bias tape. Yes, I do know you love that. As a cheat finishing inside denim, you can use a hem lace, especially top stitch on the outside. I am saying Hong Kong binding. That's what the technique is called. And so there's like some like little leftover fabric. Nay to the lazy. Thank you, Joe. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. It looks fantastic. It does. It looks really good. I think I'm gonna do it a little different on this side. And I don't care if they're mismatch. ID key. IDC, IDC, IDC. Why? Because this is literally the second time that I'm doing this. One of the reasons why I'm always wary about making jackets is because of this. Because your girl doesn't want to have to bind anything. I want y'all to know that I'm over here like gulping my coffee because I'm just like, oh my goodness. I do feel like my phone, like my second phone, I feel like it dies really quickly. I also feel like whatever update they did to this, to the watch, yeah, I'm like, why is my watch always on 10%? I'm like, Apple products, cut it out. So, I can also go live on YouTube from one of like my cameras, my external cameras, which I think I'm gonna try out next week just to kind of see how it goes. Wait, is next week Thanksgiving? It might be. Is next week Thanksgiving, guys? Okay, so let me move this. So one of the reasons why I like this magnetic, this just very small magnetic seam guide. Like I have the one that is specific for Bernina. I'm going to try to see how this looks here. I'm going to fold this down, but then I want it to be, hold it down like this. So one of the things that, come on. I forgot what I was about to say. But I am going to I'm going to try to just stitch this down because I don't really like how that, well, we'll keep it consistent. Thanksgiving is 1 week from today. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Because listen, your girl is like, where are we in life? But my mom is coming to town. And so she asked my daughter, she was like, oh, did your mom make the menu yet? And in my head, I'm like, I got time. Y'all, it's next week. I can't believe it's next week. Now I'm like, man, I should have cut this down a little bit more. Got me over here fighting for my life with this binding. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it if I'm like, I'm not doing this all over the place? Like, is it like, Aaronica, now you're being lazy? Or is it like, you know what, let's just see what we can do? I just need to know. I should definitely cut this a little bit shorter, but it's okay. We're gonna tough it out. So I always see people using the awls, and I'm like, oh, I should get an awl as well so that I could be, you know, pushing my fabric under, right? But then I'm like, I really just use my nails as the awl. Like my nails are a built-in awl. I hate how beautiful this finish looks because I am not enjoying this process, but whatever. The binding looks great. And I'm like, I'm also hating every moment of it, but it's fine. It's very easy. And it looks fantastic. It really does look fantastic. Okay. So let's go ahead and sew our back seams together. Right sides together. I'm like, I know I could have gone with a contrasting fabric, but listen, I love, love, love how this is already turning out. Let's go ahead and make sure I put my seam guide back in place. It wasn't until I started teaching my daughter how to sew that I realized that people don't really talk about like how you're like, unless you're using a seam guide, people don't really talk about how you're supposed to maintain your seam allowance. Like I don't, and again, I know that I'm self-taught, so maybe in somebody's class they go over this, and because I didn't take a class, I just missed out. But again, as I was teaching my daughter, I was like, dang, how do you keep a seam? So like on her garment that we were working on, I drew it in for her. You right, Yolanda. You are correct, sis. I'm gonna go a little slower as we go over this bias tape. Lots of layers of fabric there. You know who's been sewing a lot is Florence. Florence has been out here sewing all the things, all the dresses, and I'm like, damn, let me get my life together. Okay, so now, for a second there, I forgot what machine I had. Now, I will say that one of the things that I am anticipating happening with this jacket is that my bottom seams may not line up. Why? Because as I was cutting, there was a lot of fluff, right? So I'm okay with this. This is fine in my opinion, especially because this top area is lined up well. So let's go ahead, trim this down as well. Yes, Miss Florence is that person. Florence will make you be like, oh, never mind. I'm not in a sewing slump. Let me just go ahead and make whatever she makes to get out of the sewing slump, you know? And now she over here threatening us with more makes. I'm here. Threaten me with a good time. Come on. Okay, trimming this down. Oh. It's a lot of fluff out here, y'all. Lots of fluff. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, what was that for? I'm like, where did I get this random ass bias tape from? All right, so let's go ahead and cut more. So MX Domestic kept showing that they had gotten the bias tape maker. Yes, like the old school bias tape maker. So I bought it because I was like, I want it too. Do you know I've never used it? I feel like in 2024, not 2023, because this year's almost over. But in 2024, I'm going to, I don't know, take more time with projects. Yesterday on live, I made, you know, my primrose sweatshirt, which again, I have done. I'm like, yeah, if I didn't have people who like rode for me the way that my people do, like, I don't even know if people would know that that primrose pattern was designed by me, because all last week when it dropped, I was sewing costumes. But listen, not only did my testers knock it out the park, and honestly, that primrose test was really hard for me. Not because of my testers, not because it's a hard pattern. It was hard for me because, you know, Breast Cancer Awareness Month was last month. My first kind of month. I don't want to say celebrating it like as someone who it like affects, right? But it was essentially my first month, you know, navigating being a pre-survivor of breast cancer, you know. Um, and there were just a lot of feelings. And I feel like that has been the catalyst. Like last month was just an emotionally charged month for me. And it was hard for me because I feel like, why is this so emotional for me? You know, emotions are not something that I've always been good at, right? Like people are like, oh, wow, you do such a great job with your emotions now, right? This is not always how Aaronica's been. We're going over the other bias tape, so I'm going slower. So it was hard for me. And so as I was getting the tester feedback, all of the feedback just felt like a gut check, you know? So that was hard. Let me grab my phone is dying. My other phone is dying. So I'm like, let me grab a charger. Because and I don't know if this is a selling point for y'all or not, but Bernina's have a USB charger. So you can connect to your you can plug your phones and things in to the USB and like charge. I hope. Let's see. It's not charging. That was the hope, is that that's how it would work. Okay, so she's not charging. So I guess you can't charge. Like, don't be like that. We'll just let her sit for a second. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think fetch is going to happen with that, but that's fine. But that's how we upload our things. Like our designs and stuff like that. Like embroidery designs and things, we can upload them to our machines. But that shit didn't work out like how I planned it to, so never mind. So, Primrose, I don't know why, but it was just hard. Your girl was struggling through the tests. But because, you know, I'm not, and even when I look at directions now, like, so I sent myself the directions. I haven't read the directions. I just am looking at the pictures. So I've been trying to press myself to read the directions more. So that way, as a designer, I can write directions because your girl be over here straight struggling with the directions. Oh, okay. Now this fold over. Yeah, that trim down made all the difference. Like trimming it closer. Such a difference. Okay. Next week, I need to start sewing with my fabrics and with my threads. I said this on TikTok earlier this week, and I was just like, I just don't want to use my stuff because I just want to hold on to it for forever. But then I'm like, I can't expect for my fabrics to sell if people don't see what it looks like, you know, like into a garment, you know? Because in truth, they haven't been selling, but I also haven't been marketing them. So. Ooh. Okay, here we go. Like this is like. I just love the way that this has such a clean finish. Still not loving the process behind it. But it's fun. Excuse me. I wish I had a little toggle closure so that I could add that to this. I feel like a cute little toggle closure would be really cute for this. Trim this down some too because your girl doesn't want to fight with this bias tape. So, you know, one of the reasons why I'm always so hesitant and nervous to do things like this, especially on YouTube, because people attend like YouTube University to like legit learn, and I don't want to like, I'm like, I don't want to teach the people wrong. You know what I mean? And again, because I'm self-taught, like no one taught me how to do this bias binding. Yeah, I learned how to do this also by teaching myself. And one of the things that I've learned through projector sewing, of course, is people do not like change in the sewing world. Like they're like, this is the technique. This is how it's always been. This is how it's always gonna be. And sometimes I just don't feel like tussling about sewing. Whew. We deserve a sip of coffee. Okay, so let's pause for a moment to take in what this looks like because it's beautiful. Okay. Also, it's pretty big. Loving this for us though. Let's trim this down. I feel like it looks really, really good. Very, very proud of myself. Oh, Jilly, you could never disappoint me. I really just appreciated the fact that you did it. Katrina, this is the Muna and Broad Belmore jacket. Yolanda, girl, same. Dejanay! Yes. I was also gonna sew that pullover on live, um, Florence, but I was like, I don't think I should. Okay, so we finished the back. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and assemble these pockets. Obviously, we're not putting in twill tape because we don't have twill tape. So we're gonna move on to the right side or the front pieces together. So this is the pocket. So these pockets are like pockets that we can get us some snickety snacks in. So we are not going to obviously be adding our we're not adding twill tape. I'm so sorry. Lo siento. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to put our right sides together like this, and then it's going to fold over like that. Okay? Get excited. I know I am. Let's make sure that you all can see. It's the Belmore Dijon. So this fabric is not actually fabric. I'm so excited about this. We're upcycling a quilt. So I'm gonna go ahead and move my seam gauge because it's just gonna cause more trouble with what I'm doing here. Gonna line this up. I'm really excited about these pockets. I love interesting pockets. Okay, so I did not move this over enough, so hold on. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to resituate this again. Let's see, this is the side seam, and then this is the inside. Let me line this up properly on the inside. Dare I say that's actually what matters? I'm like, the side seam we can always fit. There's so much ease in this pattern. Florence, that was so kind of someone to send you my threads. We love a sewing godmother. A little sewing fairy. Okay, so let's just resituate this properly. So now, one of the things that I'm experiencing in this moment is that my like little pocket situation is not lining up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that my side pieces are lined up properly. And then if I have to adjust the pocket piece or the pocket curves, then at that point in time I can. You know what I mean? So as you can see here, it's over a little bit more, but it's fine. We're going to follow this line going down, and then we're going to follow this outer line coming up. And I feel like there's enough pocket space for me to be able to do that. But I am going to make sure that seam, we're doing like a 1/4 inch seam allowance at this point in time because we're going to have to trim away a lot. And right now, I just would really like for this to be, I don't want to say just finished. And I am going to, look, we're not bias binding this, okay? We're going to serge this. And so now I'm going to just follow the inside curve. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut my thread here. And then I'm going to start from this outside piece. And then, yes, that will give me a smaller pocket space, but I feel like it'll be okay. Um, and I'm gonna turn it out just so that we can kind of see what it's looking like before I make any final decisions. Okay, so let's take a look and see how this looks. Wow, I love it. Okay, so let me turn y'all around so that you guys can be excited with me. Okay, so this is what we did so far, right? So this is this side. Look, I feel like that's good enough pocket space. Like, look, like we got space to put stuff in here, man. Yes, I'm randomly just grabbing things on my desk, but like, look at all this pocket space. Okay, so let me start pulling stuff out because we got to finish this. Yes, let's take out all the random items. My apologies, y'all. But I feel like this is fine. So let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. We are not using, look, we're not doing no bias tape on this. Okay. Ah, I love it. This makes me so happy. Ah, it's got pockets. Boom, boom. Okay. Sorry. Just very, very excited about that. Bring it back. Bring it back. Okay. Boom. All right, let's go back. Betty Studious Sewing. I know that's right. Jill out here asking the right questions. How do we get a sewing god fairy? Fairy godmother. That's what we need in life. All right. All right, so this lines up perfectly, so that makes me think that the other one, it was me. So I'm gonna actually pop that one back out. We're gonna redo that other side because granted, yes, it's good enough, but if we could make it better, that's what we're gonna do. So I really liked Jenny's book. One of the things that she talked about in there that I definitely was like, ain't no fucking way, was she talked about tracing patterns. Y'all, could not be me. And so then when I opened up, because she sends out the physical patterns. Here's what I loved, because she printed out a pattern that has the finished measurements are an 80-inch hip. You know what that tells me? That pattern companies just need to do better, period. Okay, so this pocket went in flawlessly. So we're gonna take out this other side, and we're just, ugh, that damn chalk is not rubbing off. Okay, it's fine. We'll get some water. Man, I'm just like so in love with this. Okay, so let's take this out and let's try this again. Again, perfection's not the goal, but if we can get it better to right, then that is the goal. Okay. Okay. So this is the right side. Let's see. This fit better in here this way. Okay, yeah, that was what it is. I just put it in wrong. Now it's lining up perfectly. Um, so Julian and I recorded our new podcast last night. Y'all, whew, listen, y'all gonna want to tune into this one. Now, I do think that we always have a really great episode. But I'm not gonna lie, this one here, this one is heavy on the T. Heavy on the T. Now this one went in way smoother because I matched up the right size. I just did not, again, it's kind of hard to tell when you have no definitive right from wrong sides, but we got that in correctly. And so now we have, like, we've got full pocket space. Let's go ahead on over to Bernadette, the serger, so that we can finish those pockets, because I'm not doing, good morning. Because listen, I'm not doing the, we're not putting bias tape on these pockets, okay? But we're almost done. We are almost done. So let's go ahead. And I know that you guys are not in a rush, but you know, I like to be with you for a good time, not a long time. Okay, just make sure we can see up in here. And so Bernadette, she's in need of some maintenance, but we're gonna give her that today. And so I'm serging these edges because what I don't feel like is all that I did for that back area. Okay, fire. Fire. Okay, so we got this one side is done. Put my hand up in my pocket. Uh-oh. What happened here? Maxi Lock, what'd you do to my thread? Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got our front pieces together. Now it's time to put all of our shoulder seams together. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Oh, dang. Thing fell back further than I thought it was. Okay. So here we have our back jacket. And let's see. This front piece goes here. Does it go there? No. This front piece goes here. Like so. And we've got our other front piece. Okay. Let's go ahead. Get this on in here. So now we're doing our shoulder seams. So one of the things that I've been doing I've not been buying nearly as many fabrics as of lately because I've been working on sewing my stash, y'all. Tomorrow I'm gonna publish a real quick and dirty, like how I organized my fabric stash. But I was like looking at it and I was like, wow, look at all these beautiful fabrics that I have that I forgot that I had because I couldn't find them. Okay, so for the shoulders, we're gonna go right back to that serger and I'm gonna go ahead and do that again. Why? Because one, that was way faster. And two, like, who's looking at my shoulder seams like that? To see if they're bound. Okay. I'm sorry, I keep trying to make this transition smooth. Florence, we have so much fabric, girl. That's all we need to do. You know, I was really looking for my 4-way stretch stash because I've been really wanting to make all the bodysuits. I really want more bodysuits in my life. Okay. We got our shoulder seams in, which means that you guys know what time it is. It's time to get these sleeves in. We're doing an open face sleeve, which is always my favorite. I always feel like it's so much easier to do your sleeves that way. So let's go ahead and get that done. Listen, we don't shame around fabric, okay? There is no shame in fabric. Okay, so let's open this garment up. So we're finding our center seam right here. That's what I'm going to line up the middle of this this sleeve with. So I'm finding my center point here. Just going to go ahead, put my clip there. So that way I can just go ahead line this up like so. Again, because this is my first time ever sewing a Moon and Broad pattern, I just really want to make sure that, you know, I have a good understanding of how they ease things in. You know, because I want to say every pattern designer has a little difference in how they do things. Some pattern designers leave like the extra notch for the seam allowance. Some don't. Okay. Yeah, this is just a lot of fabric. Let me go ahead, pop this in, make it a little easier for me. Help me navigate all of this. When I was making the jacket, when I was making Julian's jacket, yeah, I was over here like legit knocking stuff all up off my table. It was a mess. You know, here's what I love about this, like the option to go live and in YouTube is because like you can save certain parts as highlights, which I think is really cool. I haven't used that feature just yet. Maybe I'll do it right now. Let me see. Save highlight. I don't know what that means. Highlight save to your channel. I don't know what that means, but creator tools. Look at that. Okay, cool. Okay, hey, we are, yeah, we are almost done. I'm gonna go ahead and no, I'm not gonna close up this sleeve because I gotta finish each of these seams. Okay, let's get our other sleeve in. I was really about to just go ahead, pop that thing closed, but I'm like, let me just relax, stay true to what I'm doing. I almost feel like I should have been standing up to sew this because it's like taking up so much space now that we're basically done with the construction. The only things that I have left to add are my collar piece and my like the whatever is at the, what is this shawl stitch. Who is that? Is that Milkshake? Trying to be gentle with how I'm moving this jacket around because, again, I was left cleaning up my mess for days. So I think I'm just supposed to hem the bottom, but I think I'm going to go ahead and finish the bottom with bias. I gotta be honest, I'm a little slightly confused about this collar situation. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna probably freestyle that. All right, now let's go back to the serger. We're going to serge both of those sleeves in place. And I'm going to figure out this collar situation because I really am kind of confused about that. Burn, I'm gonna clean you today, girl. I'm so sorry. I hear the difference in you, girl. I'm gonna clean you, I promise. Okay. Let's get this other side now. And then since I'm over here, I am gonna go ahead and sew the side seam with my serger because I was gonna finish it with my serger anyway. All right, so now that that's done, I do think I'm going to go ahead and finish this like little sleeve situation and the bottom with our with bias tape, because I think that that will look cute, right? I'm almost tempted to just finish the collar or finish the entire like neck area with bias tape as well, because I'm really enjoying how that is looking. You guys, I'm like fighting for my life over here. And again, my seams are not lining up. Again, this is not something that I'm worried about because I'm just going to trim it down to what it's supposed to be after I am like kind of done sewing it. I'm like, I'll trim it down to where it should be at that point in time. Oh, I do see that we can just hit it with this so that these lines line up. You're doing a great job, Brenda. Just make sure that we're lined up. Oh. Sometimes I forget to watch my fingers. I really be like, I don't understand how you people sew through your fingers, and then I do stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I understand now. I get it. So like this is just all random fabric that did not get cut when I was cutting with my rotary cutter. Okay, so we got one side done. It's looking fantastic. Let's get this other side as well. Okay. So one of the things that I'm looking for is making sure that my seams kind of line up. So there were the two back seams that we put in, and I want to make sure that those kind of line up with my side, with the pocket area. If I do that, then the jacket pieces line up together properly. So. Let's see. I'm sorry, I had my phone over on the other side, so I was missing conversation. Let me see. But I also have 6% battery left, so let me see what y'all were talking about. Yes, we do know a bodysuit that's about to go. So, Jill, I'll share with you some testing pointers as well, because, you know, I started out as a tester. One of the things that, and here's what I'll say, if you're testing for someone who, and I struggle with testing, namely because a lot of times testers are giving feedback before we need it, right? So that becomes a problem for me because it's too much information at the wrong time. literally the only thing that as designers we need are for people to, and I don't mean to sound like an asshole when I say this, but just to do what we asked when we asked for it. So like oftentimes we'll be specific about what we need. It'll be like, so for pre-testing, especially for like Made for Mermaids, when we do pre-testing for Made for Mermaids, we have minimal instructions. So unless you're like an experienced sewist, we don't expect for people to sign up for that. We literally just need one of each size because we're testing out the pattern pieces themselves on different sizes. From there, then at that point in time, literally the only feedback that we want is about the pattern. Damn it, there goes some more stuff I'm knocking down. About the pattern pieces. We don't really care about tutorial feedback. That's not what we're looking for. During pre-testing, we are purely looking for feedback on those pattern pieces, and that's it. All right, so we're constructed. But then when we get into testing, I am definitely trying this on because immediate gratification is my middle name. But then when we get into actual testing, there's a couple of different testing phases even within there. So when we do the full test, many of us start out with a full tutorial. Unless you're me, then we do not start out that way. You still have some bare bones. So at that point in time, what we're looking for, we're just looking for feedback again on the pattern pieces. Okay, this is so cute. I kind of wish that the sleeves were a little bit longer. Okay, so here we go. This is it. So this is where we are. So we still have to add collar pieces. I'm going to finish these sleeves with the bias. I'm going to finish the bottom with the bias, but like, I wish I had some like quilted black fabric, but I don't. So we're not going to worry about it. But I'm loving this. All right. But I will say that generally speaking, okay, now I'll do this on camera. This is fine. Generally speaking, what we're looking for is, again, feedback on the specific things that we're working on in that moment. I don't even know what the fuck this is supposed to be. I think it's fine without a cuff because of the nature of the style. I think it'll be fine, but I'm like, let's just see this measurement here. Okay, so we are going to need that because this takes us, oh, well, maybe we won't. I feel like we'll be fine. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of measuring to see what this like is looking like here. We could go for a little bit more space. But again, in my humble opinion, the directions are just not very clear for this last collar piece. So we're going to just make it pop how we can. So back to testing. So when you're testing, the literal most helpful thing, oh, maybe I should do it. No, it would be this way. And then this would come, pardon me, let me just figure this out. Then that will come down. Yeah, we'll do it that way. That works. Oh man, Jill, bye. So I'll just leave this up here just in case people are watching and they get this far and they're like, yes, please tell me more on how to be helpful as a tester. Once we get to the point of actually like testing, I don't know, man. I feel like that's not going to work very well. see how this fits. I'm just like, will this work? That doesn't line up either. Doesn't line up here. Let's just see, just for shits and giggles. That also doesn't line up. Let's see. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. But also, I don't really feel like I need a collar piece that is this wide. I feel like if I do it this way, it is exactly what I need. And my apologies, because again, the directions, in my opinion, were not very clear about what to do with the collar piece. I also recognize that it's probably user error because I don't particularly love reading directions, but we're gonna make fetch happen regardless. So let's do just that. We'll nix that piece. We're gonna just do right sides together on this piece here. There is a curve up here, so we're just gonna right sides together it. Oh, sorry, not me like kicking my shit around, sorry. We'll just figure it out, because that's what we do. But so during testing, we want the patterns to be, especially for Made for Mermaids, I will say this, we want the patterns to be as beginner friendly as we can. So once the full test begins, then that's really when we're looking for feedback on things like instructions on fit. I think that a lot of times testers will give feedback on things that we don't want. And that sounds, again, I know that that can sound like I'm being an asshole, but it's the truth, because oftentimes as we're testing the pattern, as we're going in, we already have a vision for how we want it to be. And oftentimes testers will be like, oh, well, I think it should have this. I think it should have that. Those sorts of suggestions, while they feel like they are done in a very loving way, where it's like, oh, this is a very exciting design for us, and we also feel like it could benefit from insert whatever you see. What that does is it makes the pattern design even harder for the designer, because we design with a certain image in our head. We design with that expectation, and having the other suggestions comes in, not that it's a bad thing, it can just be very distracting, and it can really throw us for a loop, in truth. All right, we're gonna do this on the serger, because y'all already know how I feel about serging, so whatever. So during testing process, we are simply looking for feedback on construction. So like if I would have been testing this pattern, okay, I'm lying. If I was testing this pattern, I probably wouldn't have said anything about the instructions, because I didn't read it, because I just put it together like it was a puzzle, because that's how I do. But, you know, that may have been something that came up. Let me be clear that this is not the way that they are saying to do this. This is Aaronica freestyling it to finish it. And then oftentimes we have due dates. We make the due dates based off of how long we think it'll take us to make the necessary changes in order to make it fit. So for example, I'm working on my next pattern, which is going to be a skirt. Like today, I will likely cut it for my, oops, we need that to be down. I will likely cut it for myself and my oldest daughter, just to kind of see how it fits on two different sizes. Of course, my size being in the upper range, her size is in the lower range. So when I put it into pre-testing, it'll just, of course, have loose instructions. I'm working on getting better with my instructions, and my goal is so that it can have more instructions that are less like scantily put together. Because I'm always going to take the path of least resistance in life, in sewing, everything, okay? But that also means that when it comes to sewing, I'm going to take a lot of shortcuts. Insert exhibit A, right? So, you know, I think that that is something that I'm working on, right? Like I'm working on making sure, oops, knocking stuff over again. I'm working on making sure that I think of the pattern in a more like full out way, if that makes sense. I am moving my center seam slightly off because just to kind of reduce that bulk that could happen at this neck area. The things that we really love from testers, though, is constructing it as is and offering feedback on construction methods, because that's really helpful. I know it's helpful for me because, again, I don't think, because I'm self-taught, I don't think in the way of, oh, this is how it should be done. I think in the way of, oh, this is how I would do it as someone who has never been professionally taught, because this is how it makes sense in my brain. But I also understand that the shortcuts that I take are not necessarily the ones that people want to take. And I also understand that not everybody's brain works like mine in that sense, you know? Oops, definitely just knocked some more shit over. Okay, so we're running out of, I need a little bit more space here. So I'm just going to simply attach, literally just going to attach one of these pieces here. Maybe not that one. Maybe I will cut a new piece to make fetch happen. Because I literally just need just like a little bit more in order for this to work out the way that I'm envisioning it to. So this is a huge ass piece. I probably didn't need that much, but it fits. So I'm gonna just go ahead and sew this off right here. And because it's close enough to how the lines were, I'm hoping that it will kind of go in seamlessly. And of course, the lines I'm talking about are the pre-quilted lines. And so now I'm just going to finish. And so this is the new seam that I just added. And so I feel like it is in there just how I need it to be. So we're going to pick back up exactly where we left off. One of the big things that we always need help with is reviewing the pattern at the end of the test. Like when we're finalizing things, taking a look at those instructions, like that is the time that we really want people to take a look at the pattern instructions and stuff like that for that feedback. Like at that point in time, oh, so helpful. Okay. Okay. And now I'm like, let me just trim this down as well. And now we're ready to finish this with bias tape. And look, you guys can't even tell where I added the extra length in. I love that. Oh, but look at what happened here. But that's okay because I'm about to go back through and put in a regular stitch. Because this is woven fabric, I really just wanted to finish the seam with it, with my serger, not necessarily construct with it. So I am going to come back on over here to my sewing machine to throw in another stitch as well. And then we're going to go ahead and put in our bias tape and be donezo. I am going to put a little bit of, I'm going to clip this area in place so that I can see that area that I do need to make sure that I have a little bit of extra special time going over. Oops. Listen, if I knock you guys around, know that it's the jacket's fault and not mine, okay? Okay, so now we're going to just go ahead and put in our actual stitch. This was already part of my plan to do, to throw this standard stitch in here anyway. Why? Because while I love using my serger, I did not have my chain stitch and overlocker turned on, aka my combo stitch, which means that it's not really reinforced for a woven fabric, you know, because woven fabrics are put together very differently than, of course, our knit fabrics. So just something to be mindful of. Yes, you can use a serger for wovens. I do not recommend using it for something that does not have a whole lot of ease, because listen, with these woven stitches, I mean, with these woven fabrics, these stitches will just pull out. They will not be loyal, okay? When I press this, this is going to look so glorious. Let's see, what time is it? 10:41. We're still making really good time. I didn't come on at 7:30. I came on closer to like 8-ish. And I kind of feel like the amount of time that it's taken to make this jacket is an appropriate amount of time. I'm sorry if the jacket is blocking you all's view. All right. So now let's go ahead and get this bias tape in place as well. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, wow. This is so fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and add my label in this moment. I got my labels from Dutch Label. I ordered a shit ton of them. I have not even gone through close to being half of them. This is what my label looks like. We're going to go ahead and pop that in. Because we are indeed proud of this make. I'm going to pop it in this label. To put my labels in, I do go down to like, I take my stitch length all the way down. I've seen people who iron it in place first. Listen, I love that. Not going to be me. Why? Because I'm just like, I'm not getting up from the chair until the garment's finished. I think I'm actually going to, I don't think I actually want to put it up that high. I think I kind of would like for it to be over this bias tape. Let's see. Let's just see if we can make fetch happen with that. Because I just feel like it being up that high is going to irritate my neck. That's not what we want to do. Let's see. Oh, that's a good stopping spot. Go ahead. Come on, jacket. Come on, jacket. Okay. Like, just say a prayer for the stuff that's behind here. Damn, what the hell? Like, not me over here thinking I move stuff and I'm still over here knocking things over. Oh, that's about as close as we're gonna get. Let's see. Okay. That part is done. Now let's go ahead and our little label is so cute. So there we go. We got our little label in there. I'm going to go ahead and add this bias tape. Okay, so this is all the bias tape that we have right here. Let's see if we can find some more. My girlfriend makes fun of me because she's like, you basically have a Joann's at your house. Let's see how true that is. Got it. Guess it's kind of true then. So we're going to do this bias tape here along this bottom edge. I do think that I want my bias tape to be exposed. So I don't want to put it on and tuck it. I want to put it on and have it be seen. And this is the double fold, right? So this is super, super wide, which is perfect because this is about how wide I want this to be. And because of how wide this is, when I add it onto my sleeves, I can use that to kind of extend my sleeve length a little bit. So to start out, I am going to go ahead and fold this down and then fold it up. So that way it's already like finished, if that makes sense. So it's going to be sandwiched like this. Okay. Ugh. Golly. I'm trying to tell you. Whew, there's a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff. I'm like, now I got threads coming out of all sorts of places. Now, let me see. my back piece, one of my back pieces got a little messed up. Let's see what we can do about that first. Let me take a look, see, because one of the back pieces was longer than the other. But not by much. So we're gonna do a little trim stitch. Just a slight trimming, just so that it meets up. Now listen, one thing about me is you may not learn the proper technique, but you will learn how to finish some stuff over here, okay? We focus on finishing the garment. But goodness, look at all this fraying that's happening. That would drive me insane in the membrane if that is how I had to live with this garment. So we went ahead and added that. This is going to be, dare I say, it's going to be super sexy. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and redo. I'm not going to do a stitch length. I had it marked. I had it pushed down to like 1.5. I did go ahead and bump this up to 3. Golly, am I still not this? Oh, damn. Shit is just falling out. Okay. I'm going to have one of the children go behind here because, okay, let me move the buttons too. Golly. This jacket, let me move y'all back some too. This little jacket is like, I'm going to come in here and mess up all your spot, okay? So, I'm going to put a pin in this. Not to actually hold it, but just to kind of like put it there. And I'm just going to do this. There we go. This fabric is like too thick for me to have like properly pinned it. Go. I just wanted to stitch that in place. I don't actually like how that went in, so I'm going to do it again. Okay. I felt like it was not as tight as it could have been up on this garment. Like I want it to be super flush. Yes, much better. All right, let's go ahead and get this party finished. We've already started it. Trim down my tail that was left on for my serger. Now I feel like I need even more space, y'all. I'm just like, there's just not enough space for me to spread this out the way that is easier. I love the way that this bias tape is so thick. And the way that it's accenting this jacket. Like, just spread it out a little bit more. It's the final countdown. So I'm really proud of myself for doing all of these new patterns for, of course, New Pattern November, which is what we're in. I hope that you all are also pressing yourself to try new patterns. At the end of November, I'll be just looking up the hashtags to see who used it on multiple on whatever platform. Put you guys into like a drawing thing. I've got pins to give away from my girlfriend Dana, who is a fantastic artist and pin maker. There's going to be fabric, there's going to be patterns. You can also win my sewing tokens. I'll be giving away a set of them. So the way that you can enter into New Pattern November is just by simply sewing a pattern that you already own. Don't need to buy anything. Sew a pattern that you already own and just go ahead and share it using hashtag New Pattern November. Last year we had so much fun. People were very excited about being pressed to try something, being pressed to actually use the patterns that they had already owned. Because we buy all of these patterns, but then we still have our favorites, right? We have our favorite patterns that we love, that are our tried and true patterns, right? But then we'll see someone like Florence make a new pattern, and we'll buy the pattern, and then we may or may not make it. So then that ends up being a waste of money for you. And while, yes, as a pattern designer, we always appreciate the purchase, but you know what's even better as a pattern designer? When we see what you have made with it. All right, so this is what we have left. We're getting to the end. So I'm gonna just go ahead, tuck in our final pieces here. Boom. I do kind of feel like I could have made that a little bit shorter, but what else? One of the things that I said when I was recording my review of Jenny's book is that I don't sew muslins. Let me be clear here. This is actually a muslin for me. I like to make wearable muslins. You know, I like to make something that is not going to end up in waste. I don't like to use muslin fabric. And I understand why people use it. I understand why people make muslins. I get it. In my opinion, for me, it is just a waste. And one of the reasons why I sew with a projector is to try to cut down on the waste that I produce with this hobby, with this stream of income, with whatever we're calling it. And so oftentimes people will be like, well, how do you know that you've gotten it right? Yeah, just try it on and see. That's how I feel about it anyway. So take that with a grain of salt. Because in truth, you know, I did make a mistake or two through this. This is not what this pattern calls for. But this is what felt right in my spirit. You know what I mean? Okay, so now let's get these sleeves. I'm loving that. That contrast looks so good to me. All right, let's get these cuffs together as well. Oh, dang. Oh, I was like, dang, where did I put my stuff? Okay, so let's trim down our thing here. We're not going to use this. Now for this, I'm not going to make it flush like how I done with going around the bottom. I'm going to lift it up just like a little bit like this. So it's going to give me about an extra like 1/2 inch of space in here. I'm doing that because I said that I would prefer my cuffs to be a little bit longer, or my sleeves to be a little bit longer. And I feel like this is going to be a way for me to get just a little bit of extra length in there. And I could have pre-measured this. Obviously, that's not how I did it though. I feel like by doing it this way, it's allowing me to kind of see how it's looking as I'm going. Because, you know, at any moment in time, we could be like, scratch that. I hate everything. And this way, it's a little bit easier for me to have that design flexibility, we'll say. I do kind of wish that I had put it in while my sleeve was open. I will say that. But we're here now and it's fine. Okay, so I'm just making note of kind of like the area that is overlapping. I'm going to just trim that down. And tuck that under. Possibly not to. We'll see how things are when I get to that area. Nope, we're not going to trim it down. We're just going to simply cover it up. Okay, and so this is what our new cuff or our new sleeve is looking like. Also, feel like that is super sexy and am loving it. Let's go ahead, do the same thing on this side. Trim it down our tails. I am going to trim a little bit of this excess because I feel like By this point in time, it was getting a little out of control. It's been like rubbed and stuff. So again, just going to go ahead. And I do it over the seam because the truth is that I feel like most people are not actually able to see the seam. I'm going to try to see how it feels doing it with the cuff around my actual like machine stitch right there. There we go. Does feel a little weirder doing it this way. We'll see how it feels. It's the last one. It'll be fine. Actually, no. It doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel good to me. It feels awkward. Okay. Woo. Where is my seam? Where's my seam? There's my seam. Okay, so let's go ahead. Again, we're leaving about 1/2 inch. This bias tape is like 25 inches wide. No, I'm just joking. But it is really wide. It's the extra wide bias tape. And I'm like, it's already been double folded. So over the holiday season, one of the things that I've got to do, because I am teaching, I think 9 classes out in Washington, is I've got to I have to create some of these patterns. So I'm teaching a hat making class, which I'm not saying I don't know why I pitched this idea, but I'm not really a big hat wearer. I love hats, and I actually enjoy making hats. But I don't know if I'm going to be using like a beanie hat. I'm going to make this piece a little bit longer so that I can fold it under. Not by much, though. Let's see, can we fold it? We can fold it over. We can fold it under about 1/4 inch. So we're going to take that for what we can and say thank you. There we go. Okay. Dare I say our jacket is complete? Hold on a second. Let me push that under. This is not perfect, y'all. But that shit is good enough, okay? I'm not gonna lie. On this last one, that last stitch, I was like, I'm done. I'm finished. Okay, that's it. The jacket's complete. We already have our tag in. I like the little bit of length that this added to it. So let's take a look at what this looks like on me. Hey Luli, we are the sewing tokens. I created sewing tokens. I'm like, where are mine? Hold on. So these are them. These are one of them. I created 2 different styles. One is for pattern inspiration. So they come in they come in a box. They also come inside the bag, inside the box. And if you're looking for pattern inspiration, then you can go in here and be like, what do I feel like making? And then this is like belted beauty. So incorporate a belt or sash into a dress or jumpsuit pattern for a cinched waist look. I think this is the pattern hack one. Yes, this is the pattern hack one. So this is for daring cutouts. Add cheek cutouts, details to the neckline, waist, or sleeves of a dress or top pattern. So it gives you a little bit of inspiration on how to customize or make a pattern your own. Then I also have the pattern inspiration ones. I felt like they were in here as well. I might have taken them out. Where they just kind of give you inspiration for a pattern to make. But we have made this pattern. We're done. So again, we added about a half of an inch onto the sleeve. As you can see here, it made it so that it was a little further on my wrist. Okay. So we added our little collar situation. We've got our super deep pockets and we're done. That's it. The back of the jacket, we did go ahead and put in our Hong Kong sleeves right here. I mean, our Hong Kong bias tape right here. That's how we finished the back. That's the only place we did it because your girl didn't have the patience to do it every place else. So this is the jacket. Thank you so much for joining me as we sew this live. Again, there were some freestyle moments. This is not how the sleeves called to be finished. This is not how the bottom of the jacket called to be finished. But it's done. And another new pattern November entry is been added by moi. So what we did is we actually took a quilt that I had bought from a linen store and I upcycled it to become a jacket. This is what it's looking like in the back. This is perfect to throw on top of, like there's a lot of ease in this. So I could put on a sweatshirt underneath here if I wanted to add some additional layers. I could leave it as is. I love the versatility because of the ease. Like, look at all of this. Like, I've got so much space here that I can really use it to layer. And this is the Belmore jacket from Muna and Broad. If you're like, where can I get it? munaandbroad.com. And I've also listed this pattern as one of my beginner-friendly plus size sewing patterns that you can use. So that is it for me. Oh, Cassandra, I'm so happy you got to watch it too. Oh, Nada, it's going to be posted. Okay, girl, don't worry. I'm not going to leave you hanging. But thank you so much for joining me live. I will be back, not next week, because next week is Thanksgiving. And your girl is just making me pretend that we already knew that, okay? Because I didn't. So it won't be next week, but I'll be back the week after next, okay? Don't forget to tag your patterns that you're using, especially if it's your first time using it. Post it with hashtag New Pattern November or hashtag New Pattern November 2023, and you'll be entered to win one of the prizes at the end of the month, okay? I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Thursday, and that is it for me, ending right now.